The views, information, and opinions expressed during the following program are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent the views of Access Communications, its representatives, or its employees.
Welcome to Planting Seeds, Philanthropy in Saskatchewan, a show where we aim to connect you to the donors and charities that are making an impact across the prairies. I'm your host, Victor Roman Morrow, with the South Sask Community Foundation. I hope you enjoy the show. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm lucky to be joined today by Donna Ziegler, who's the Executive Director at the South Sask Community Foundation, so a face that I'm used to seeing daily. And
good or bad. Yes.
Very good. Let's keep that on the record. And what we really want to go through today is, this is the first episode that we're doing here in the year 2024, and we wanted to give you a bit of insight into what the foundation has been up to in 2023. It was a really busy year of connecting community, and a little bit of our plans in 2024 and how we plan to keep that community engagement going. So thanks and welcome to the show, Donna.
Thanks so much for having me, Victor. Really excited about this.
Well, I'm excited to have you on. Before we get into it, is there anything you'd like the audience to know, maybe about yourself or about the foundation in general?
No, the foundation this year is going to be celebrating 55 years. So that's huge. I was here for the 50th, and now they're going to be celebrating 55. It's pretty exciting.
That's a big milestone. So before we get to the 55th, let's talk about that 54th year maybe. And what happened in 2023? What are some of the noteworthy things that the foundation was involved in, I guess?
Thanks so much. Yeah, we did so much last year. I thought it was really worthwhile to highlight some of the outreach that we did. We kicked it off with staff getting together and talking about how do we want to create outreach. And we did, I think it was 25 presentations last year, starting in February. And so we continued that with different groups, whether that was professional groups or charitable groups or government. And so we really did a lot of outreach. Anytime between, I'd say February till June was completely busy with just doing some awareness. I think, we did a study a couple of years ago just asking how aware were people of the Community Foundation. And that was pretty low. So we really want to highlight that we're here, we're ready to work with community, ready to work with individuals or businesses. So we really punched out a lot of presentations. And then, we kind of followed that up with a really exciting event, which was our fundraiser. We usually do a donor event of some sort, but this was a little bit different. We didn't want people to think that they had to bring any resources with them. It was really an opportunity to celebrate where their resources had gone in community throughout South Saskatchewan. So we invited charities. Our area is Davidson down, east to west to both borders, and some Saskatchewan-wide charities. So we invited charities in and asked them if they wanted to be a part of this event, the fundraiser, which you led a lot of it. So that was pretty exciting. But we invited, I think we had over 70 charities participate. And it was an opportunity for donors and just the community to learn about the charities right here and what they do. So there were some really good discussions with the employees of the charities and people from the community. And so they had a really nice time over an afternoon to talk with whatever charities they wanted, learn a little bit more about them. And we also did, we recognized all the living board members at the fundraiser, which was also the first of its kind. And it was really wonderful to see. I think there was like 25 or 30 board members that came out that were recognized with a special pin and just acknowledgement for their volunteering, their time and their talent, and many their resources as well.
Yeah, it was that event specifically was really, really Well, to be honest, like it was pretty amazing. I know you mentioned I led it. I did some work on it. To be honest, our summer students led it, which we can talk about a little bit in a moment. But what was really amazing for me is, our summer students worked really hard to bring, you said I think it was about 70 charities into one room. And I remember helping them set up the night before and putting up because we had a poster for every single charity, and just walking through the room and just realizing, and I said this to the charity representatives that were there the day of that, like, when you put everyone in that room, like, it's just incredible, just the diverse amount of impact and that organizations are making, from environmental needs to children's needs to seniors' needs to just everything across the board, women's needs, just everything. And getting everybody in a room like that in a non-competitive way to just talk and really collaborate, and for donors or donors or community members or anybody that was visiting that got to walk through and just experience and have all those conversations, like, it's really eye-opening just to the amount of work that goes in to keeping our community safe and making it a better place to live.
I would agree, even the belonging part. I learned, and I usually go through all the checks. I learned about some new charities that I had not heard of, especially through the Truth and Reconciliation Fund, which we'll also talk about in a minute. But it was just so interesting. And we had over about 150 donors or community members come and learn. So it was, I thought it was a really special event, and that's the remarks back that we got. But you mentioned the students.
Yes.
So in 2023, we were able to hire 7 students, 4 more on a full-time basis during the summer months, and 3 temporarily so that they could do some video work for us. But how impactful for us and for them. We gave them a really good opportunity and a variety of exercises that they could participate in. I remember their first day, May 1st, we did a MLA breakfast or an MLA reception. And they were very surprised. They didn't even understand what that was. And then they planned, you're right, they planned, help plan the fundraiser. So we had some, really impactful opportunities with students.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to your note, like, we had a wide variety that we were able to fund through, I can't remember the name of the grant anymore, but the federal funding that's available for that. And I was involved with them kind of on a limited capacity. Like, as I mentioned, I helped with the fundraiser, but we had some students that were just there to capture stories. And, one of the things that our foundation does, which I know you can talk to more, is we want to connect the community to the impact that's being done. And there's no better way to do that than through stories. And when it comes to, traditionally it's me as kind of like that one-person marketing team, which I think we've expanded beyond a little bit now. But last summer it was great because we had content creators going out just to capture videos and capture the stories of so many charities and have them thank the donors that actually impact them directly through those videos, as well as give more of the general information. And I remember talking to one of the summer students, and they were just in awe, again, of just like, they had no idea all these things were happening in community, and that all these places were supporting the community and are in need of support in order to support the community.
Yeah, that was so true. And I know that they created some videos a little bit for one of our other big events in 2023, which was the Vital Signs report. We haven't done that, a full report, in 5 years, just over 5 years. We've done other reporting, but it's been on a different basis, a short-term basis. This one was very thorough, and you led us through that, along with Irina, who is our researcher from Johnson Shoyama. She assisted as well. The University of Regina, the connections we were able to make, Luther College, bringing in the city as well, just to observe and understand what we were doing, the students, especially our one student, Brooklyn, who helped us develop the website around the Vital Signs. So that was big for us. And it was I'd say it's almost over a year research that we did to make sure that this report talked about the immediate emergent needs in community and going back to community to learn what are those challenges, what are you telling us, and then doing the statistical research around those emerging issues.
Yeah, so I think, and maybe I'll even explain a little bit about the research, just so the audience knows, but our foundation does, community foundations across the country participate in what's called vital signs research, and it's research that it's local research, but it's powered at a national level. So it gives us the tools we need to really figure out what the pulse of our community is. And as you mentioned, we actually haven't done a full report since about 5 years ago. Pre-pandemic days that kind of delayed, I think, when we were initially going to do it. But it's a really powerful tool. What I found in my experience, it's a powerful tool to, as we talked about, connect the community to what's actually happening in community and to understand the needs that are truly here right now that we need to take care of right now. And I mean, we could talk about that report for an hour and we won't, but to kind of plug it, if you go to our website, sscf.ca, you can find the report there. The interactive report also is at the URL growingfuturesreport.ca. So if viewers are interested in figuring out, what the biggest needs of our community are, they can find out there. And just to talk to the partnerships too. So Colleen Strauss, she was actually on one of the episodes of the show as well, if people want to look back at that. But she was a huge connector from Luther College to get us involved in the University of Regina. We also were involved with the Hill and Levine Schools of Business, and there were students there who really passionately dove into the issues around housing, food security, mental health needs that our community is facing, to try to find innovative solutions towards it.
And they did, right? They found some solutions. It's on the last page, I believe, of the report.
Yeah.
But they found some solutions.
Yeah.
Or, thoughtful solutions, that innovative.
Yeah.
So you're right, the partnerships were fantastic. And getting everybody, I know Luther was thinking of their own research report at one time, but coming on board, and Saskatchewan isn't that big of a province, and South Saskatchewan even a little bit smaller. So bringing on partners to understand the challenges in the community is really important, so that we can try and develop solutions together too. Yeah.
I think that's a big thing is, it can't be siloed. It has to be people working together and collaborating. And I think one of the things that's always challenging, especially in the nonprofit sector, is you're working with limited resources. So sometimes, and limited resources, everybody's got their own board, they've got their own structure. So sometimes it can be hard to figure out, how do we work together? And I think as we go forward with that report, we're going to be looking into more ways of, how can we now engage people together and to collaborate to make an impact towards.
And starting to look towards drawing in funds that aren't discretionary, that are discretionary, that we can actually use them for innovative solutions. And so starting to think a little bit more about that and talking to donors about that.
Do you want to even maybe explain a bit to the viewers what you mean there by discretionary?
Yeah, so funds that, it's almost like trusted philanthropy, that we're going to use the resources to do the best we can in community where the need is. Community Foundation's been around for almost 55 years. We have the knowledge and expertise and infrastructure to be able to understand what's happening in community, how can we bring people together to have innovative ideas, and then fund those innovative ideas. So I think that is the hope, that we receive resources that aren't tied to anything besides helping the emergent need.
I know. I mean, there's so many unique ways that people looking to support their community can do it through our foundation. For example, we have a donor that there's mineral rights that are making a huge impact, or there's donors that they care deeply about animals, so they have a fund that will continue to give back to animal shelters forever. And as you mentioned, it is, I think, unique, and this is one of the things I heard from one of our donors, Bob Perry, recently, who I talked to about this, because he has a fund that specifically gives towards vital signs research. And I remember talking to him, and he really just highlighted that, it's a lot of work for him to think about where to give to, and it just takes that burden off to know that he can give to a place that's in the loop, that's taking that pulse, and make sure that his donations are making the biggest impact possible. So it is kind of a unique position, I think, for community foundations, not just ours, but across the country, to be able to tap in to the community that way and make a meaningful difference.
Yeah, I would agree. So last year was a busy year. It was, had lots of interaction and outreach to community. And so, in 2024, we're just reflecting on all of that with $6 million going out the door in 2023 to over, I think, 230 organizations.
Yeah.
That's a lot, right? That's a lot of outgoing. And so now in 2024, reflecting on what's gone out.
Before we actually get to 2024, I know there was one other thing you wanted to talk about in 2023, which is the Truth and Reconciliation Fund, because you mentioned that before. So before we get too far ahead of ourselves, did you want to maybe speak to that?
I do. Very grateful. Due to a bequest to the Community Foundation, again, discretionary funds, so you can use it how you like. We were in a position where we could reserve some of that and put it towards a Truth and Reconciliation Fund, which you may have talked about before. But last year was significant. We have an Indigenous committee that comes together and helps us decide where the best use of these resources are for education, culture, and language initiatives. And so last year we were able to allocate almost $250,000 to about 25, 26 organizations, which has had a lot of impact. I was able to participate or just sit in at the speaker series with the University of Regina, and that was one of the very first initiatives that we did, and it had so much impact. So the Truth and Reconciliation Fund helps Indigenous and non-Indigenous and bridges that opportunity to understand the bleak history that we've had, and then how can we use some of our resources and initiatives towards reconciliation. So very grateful for the work that the committee has done and that you have helped as well, and the support of the board to move in this direction and be more inclusive of our community.
Yeah, it's a big step forward. And with that fund specifically, I guess we're in the 2024 grant cycle now, but even including last year, it's really, I think, eye-opening to me just to see some of the organizations that maybe didn't know to apply to us before now be able to get involved. At the time of the airing, the results will be out, so I can safely say, for example, we've never received an application from Pasqua First Nation before, and we were able to actually fund them this round, which was really special to me. As well as we mentioned, there's the committee is really focused on finding ways to support Indigenous communities themselves, but then also how to bring others into that journey of reconciliation. So, we see some grants, like for example, the Athol Murray College of Notre Dame has a smaller grant that's actually bringing their students into the conversation at that young age and exposing all of their students at a young age towards what reconciliation really means and what the truth really is. And it's, I guess I just give my biggest, I don't even know the right word, really thanks, I guess, to the committee for their hard work and understanding and guiding us towards what's the best way to actually make an impact in the community and how can all groups be involved and be really inclusive in this process.
Yeah, I would agree, Victor, and their patience with us as well. It's just been, I've observed just what a great group it is, and that they put their heart and soul into it to share with us where they believe the dollars will have the most impact. So I think it's been a really good initiative for the South Saskatchewan Community Foundation.
Absolutely. And I think I kind of bridged us into 2024 there with some of those newer grantees. So maybe now would be a good time as we get into 2024 here. What's been up? What are our plans? How do you see some of this moving forward to keep this momentum going?
So the board has been really supportive of our strategic plan, and they revised it a little bit last year. And so we are really going to focus on, and which we started last year, assisting nonprofits in their journey as well, with the nonprofit conference last year, and hoping to start that or continue that again this year, helping sponsor that. But also with all the funds we started last year. We started over 25 new funds last year right around South Saskatchewan. So continuing the relationship with those communities, whether that is Gravelbourg or Carlisle or Arcola or Mooseman, other communities. So really focusing on those 25 to 30 new funds that we have and getting to know them is part of what we hope to do. We have, of course, a couple of big events coming up that we know about. You know, we know that the Uncharitable event was very, it was a significant opportunity to educate the public and board members and charities on the business side of charities and how people can get involved in a different way and have a different model approaching charities. So that, you know, the sellouts each afternoon and the evening were significant. And so that was one piece of it. And then really we had a women supporting women event, first of its kind in February. And that was hugely successful in the sense that people were more aware of who and what we did. We are continuing to work with charities that can help women and children with emergent needs, right where they need them. So that those funds raised will go back directly to maybe 14 charities or more, depending on who applies for the funding. Our goal is to increase that funding. We know that there is some national funding out there, but it's not nearly enough. We know that there was double the ask last year. So helping women and children in South Saskatchewan with some of those emergent needs. And we had over 100 people there. And it was just fantastic. The stories that were shared by some of the very impactful individuals was just, I think we had about 8 speakers. And so it was really, it was a very interesting, engaging type of activity. And that will continue next year as well, early February. And so that was one piece. And also we're hoping to host the fundraiser again. It'll be a little bit different, a little bit bigger. We're not, we're just talking about where it's going to be this year, but want to offer the public and community another opportunity to talk with those charitable and nonprofit organizations that are within our area so people can get to know them.
Absolutely. One thing I wanted to back up on just before we kind of wrap things up is you mentioned those about 30 new funds or so. Yes. Just to give some context to what my day looks like, you know, or and on our days too, is, you know, going into 2024 or 2023. Sorry, going into 2023, I think we had about 140 funds. So it's about 140 funds over that 53-year period. Yeah. In that 1 year period, there was about that 20 to 30 new funds created. And I remember, you know, normally you talk to a fund throughout the year and you get a few set up. And last year I was like, I got to sit down and do all of this because we had so much. But when we talk about that momentum, bringing community together, connecting with community in different ways, I think that's testament to that there are a lot of community members that want to give back, that want to be involved. So maybe to kind of close this out, can you give a bit of a call to action to viewers, you know, if they're thinking about helping the community, what are some ways they can do that, you know, with the foundation or beyond?
Thanks so much, Victor. As we stated earlier, the focus or the lens for us is really to look towards having discretionary funds for vital signs and for the Women's and Children's Vital Community Fund. But we help, or we can assist individuals, businesses, or communities with their needs as they either are trying to fundraise or if it's in memorial. As you and I both know, you know, that's an opportunity to celebrate and keep somebody's memory alive. And businesses too, working with businesses and their partners, starting to care about community in the places that they work. And they want to give directly back. I think too, last year was, we have worked with private funds before, private foundations. Last year was the first time we took on a large private foundation where it was closing down. And so it came to the community foundation in a very gentle way where they wanted to continue what the foundation was doing, but didn't have the capacity. So they also came to us, and we have a wonderful relationship with them, and will continue to fulfill the wishes of the donor or the communities. So
Yeah, absolutely.
there's lots of ways to get involved, even volunteering on our board. I know, as we get a little bit busier, we're looking for other volunteers too around events or general office things. So there's other ways that people can volunteer.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, there's so many ways, as you mentioned, volunteer with your time, your talents. If you are looking to start a fund, move a fund, or you're just curious how to fundraise, or if you're looking to fundraise for something, there's so many different ways that we could potentially partner.
Yeah, I would agree. So thank you very much for this opportunity. And I really look forward to 2024. I think it's just going to be so enjoyable, and meeting new people and starting new funds and getting involved in community and understanding what the need is for community.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Donna.
Thanks, Victor.
Thanks for tuning in today. If you'd like to learn more about how you can get involved and make an impact in your community, visit us online at sscf.ca or find us on social media on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Instagram. Just search South Sask Community Foundation. Have a great day.
If you'd like to share your feedback on the program you just watched, contact us today.